Hello, Wankers.
What's up, Vankahs?
Greetings, Vankahs. Guenther, Spa. What a thrill, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. The last 20 laps, they were not a thrill, to be honest, So, Spa normally gets a little bit mixed up as well with the weather. There is normally a little bit of rain somewhere, but this year it was not to happen. I mean, the thrill was taken out of Spa this year. So,
well, it's your fault because you wished for it not to rain because you were there. And it didn't rain and you were happy and the rest of us were sad.
Yeah, it's always my fault. As long as it's as you can blame me, you're happy.
That's right.
Yes. The whole world is happy, So yeah, I didn't get what I'm happy.
Well, listen, it might have been a boring race, but there is some pretty interesting stuff happening as a result of it. Obviously, there's the George Russell engine sabotage conspiracy. What's going on over there? We're going to get your opinions on that. There were the penalties, one for Lewis Hamilton, not one for Charles Leclerc. We'll get your opinions on that. And then we're about to hit the last race before the summer break. Silly season is fast approaching. We're going to get your opinions on all things political, behind the scenes, who's in, who's out when it comes to the Formula One world. Before we get to any of that, this is Vankah Hours, part of the Vox Media Network. Let's cue the music.
Go Fox smash my door. I'm got the fucking Steiner and I'm back for more. Go Fox smash my door. I've got the fucking Steiner and it's time for Vankah Hours, baby. Vankah Hours, baby. Vankah Hours, baby. Vankah Hours, baby.
And we're back. Okay, Guenther, we need your Rockstar and your Wanker for Spa. Guenther, you predicted that Kimi Antonelli would be Rockstar. I predicted it would be Lewis Hamilton. Matt predicted that it would be Max Verstappen.
Who was right? And who was right? You don't forget to say that one. And who was right?
Well, who was your Rockstar for Spa?
Kimi.
You went out on a huge limb and said that you thought that Kimi Antonelli would do well this race, and he did.
He did do well.
Yes.
Although his main competitor may be sabotaged and wasn't in the race, so all he had to do was catch one Charles Leclerc on a track that wasn't really built for a Ferrari engine, and he did do that. He did and he did win the race.
Yes. And I scored points in my championship,
That's right. You did score points. Well, were you expecting... Here's a question, though, Guenther. Kimi didn't... As much as he won it comfortably, and it did always seem like it was a foregone conclusion, it wasn't like he sped away into the distance and won by some huge gap. Question for you, was that a symptom of these cars being actually kind of close, or was that a symptom of Mercedes somewhat sandbagging, not trying to overuse their engine because of the reliability woes they've had this year?
I suspect that he was controlling, the speed. He was controlling. I wouldn't call it sandbagging. He was controlling because when then the virtual safety car came out and he lost a few positions, it didn't take him long to catch up again and to overtake. So,
right.
Before he didn't go away. So I think there was some game in. I don't want to go too far off in the distance. He was well in control of everything. So I'm with that theory. He could have gone into the distance in the beginning.
Guenther, I have a question regarding Kimi Antonelli. You seem to be big on him, but Italy...
The world is big on him.
Really? Because, Brian was in Italy talking to some Italians. They didn't seem to care. I mean, your World Cup team is nowhere. Ferrari hasn't won in a million years. You've got this bright, shining star in Kimi Antonelli, and nobody in Italy seems to care.
I had the same suspicion. I spoke with a few people, with a few Italian journalists in Spa about this, because I get the same feeling. He doesn't get the credit he deserves somehow. In Italy now you've got two very good sportsmen. It's Yannick Sinner in tennis, which is just walking away. you know. And by the way, he's from where I'm from, so, you know, he's even better than that, yeah. And then you have got Kimi Antonelli, but Kimi doesn't get the credit like Yannick Sinner does, and I find that one weird, to say the least. But it has to do with the Ferrari seen as the Italian team, the national team, so there is more. People still need to get used to it, that there is an Italian F1 driver, actually, which is world class, and not only a team, you know, because there was not one for a very, very long time, you know.
Right.
So, but I think he deserves more, and I think the tendency is that there is now getting an awareness. This guy is actually special, you know. We need to pay more attention to him and maybe let Ferrari go a little bit.
Exactly.
I don't know. Does it have to be one or the other? I have a hard time believing that anyone from Italy is going to want to do that anytime soon.
No, it's not. Maybe letting go is the wrong word, but maybe just do not put all your eggs in that basket, Ferrari.
Right.
There is somebody else out there which you can cheer on, you know. So, but I'm in the same opinion. He deserves more than he gets in the moment in Italy.
Kimi is your rock star for Spa. We'll get a little bit more into him after this, but who was your wanker for Spa? Let's remember who you predicted. You predicted that it was going to be Aston Martin, huge risk. Matt predicted that it was going to be McLaren. I predicted that it was going to be George Russell. Guenther, who was your wanker for Spa?
Wow. There is always the same candidates, you know. It's difficult now to find a new one because always the same. I mean, I hope it was Aston Martin for the last time of the season. Put it this way, because I'm sick of giving them but I mean, they were how many? 5 seconds off the leaders and 2 seconds of bloody Cadillac, you know.
Yeah, that's
and Alonso got lapped twice.
Yeah.
On the longest track on the calendar, that is especially embarrassing. Got double lapped. If there had been a safety car, what the hell would they have done? Waited for him to do unlap himself twice? Would have had to do 2 laps?
You just once read the regulations. But I think maybe the safety car was the same speed as them. Huh?
Yeah. That's right. They wouldn't have been able to even get out ahead of it.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, how we cannot unlap ourselves. You're going too fast. You go, bam, slow it down, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aston Martin, obviously terrible. We've got a big race coming up for them.
Oh, yeah. It's their
Hungary.
race. Yeah.
It's their race. They're bringing a whole new car to Hungary. What are you hearing? What are the streets saying? What can we expect from Aston Martin this upcoming weekend?
I can tell you what will happen, because obviously you cannot make up 4 seconds, you know, in one upgrade. I mean, it's not going to happen. So they will be there and about with the Cadillac, I think, you know, hopefully. I mean, I hope for them, because it would be good to have them back in the pack, you know. But then there will be, the engine is shit as well, you know. Oh, now we have got an engine problem, or the engine is coming in another 6 races. So that will be the next problem they will address. You know, we know what is wrong, because in the moment, everybody seems to know what is wrong, but nobody fixes it, you know, a.k.a. Williams, you know, so...
Yeah, well, I hear now that this is only half of their upgrade. The other one's coming in Zandvoort, and to not have your expectations be too high at this point.
We are already managing expectations now. After 3 weeks ago, it was said, we are back in Hungary. We are back, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think now the hope is actually a pretty low expectation. Like, maybe we can fight it out with the Cadillacs, which is just
maybe
it's just a
shameful, still a maybe. Yeah. Admission.
How do you end up like that? How do you end up behind an 11th entry, like a new entry?
Overconfident. Overconfident. You know, we have got Adrian Newey, we have got this, we have got that, and nobody is doing anything, and that is how you end up at it. So,
do you think that's like, who is that an Adrian Newey issue? Who's to blame for that? Because it seemed like what Newey wanted was to have complete control.
Yeah.
what he liked about Red Bull, and you can speak to this obviously better than we can, was that like the freedom of I can do what I want, blah, blah, blah. And then when he was leaving, all a bunch of the teams were circling around him, and it was there were some rumors about him and Ferrari, but Ferrari, from what I understand, represented too much red tape, too much. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. And then Lawrence Stroll seems to have given him the keys to the kingdom, and now he's getting to run the kingdom however he wants, and this is the result. Is that what has caused this whole situation?
Yes, I think so. And he admitted himself. It's, when he had that, what was the internal communication or whatever it was, that he said he takes the blame of it. So he took clearly the blame. I mean, at least he stood up with it, but now it needs to be fixed. And let's see what he can fix in this short period of time. But if you get it this wrong in the beginning, it's difficult to fix. And not trying to find excuses, but the Honda engine at the moment is not where it should be. I mean, that is a struggle as well. In the beginning of the season, all the vibrations. But I think even without vibrations, they wouldn't have been nowhere because the car is just not fast.
Okay, so one of the wankers that I hate to put Brian, I hate to give Brian his props, but Brian predicted George Russell for wanker of the week, and I think he was a strong candidate. I know that he had this engine problem, but the engine didn't put a gun to his head and say, you got to try to overtake Lewis right where he tried. I think, what do we think? What are we making of the George Russell situation? He was complaining about trouble on the straights last week, or in Silverstone. He's like, I got trouble on the straights. My engine doesn't have power. And Toto's like, no, George, it's not the straights. And then he's complaining about trouble on the straights in qualifying, for Spa. And then he's got no power. And, we're all saying he's not taking responsibility. He's not accepting the truth. Look in the mirror for the problem. And then off the line, he's got no power. It's clear to even us. So what do you make of this George Russell situation? Toto said at one point it's 50% us, 50% the driver. How do we view this? Is this a George Russell problem? Is this a Mercedes problem? What is your takeaway?
My takeaway is it is like he's in a bad spot in the moment. Whatever it is, nothing goes his way. And for sure, part or majority his own problem, that he cannot deal that his teammate is doing well. You're not doing well. And then all these problems, you're not trying to find a solution to them. You're just trying to find a reason why you are not performing. And that's a downward spiral. It's not like, okay, my engine is not as good. I need to drive different, I need to do something different. No, my engine is not as good. I do nothing. It's just somebody else's fault. It seems like as long as I've got an excuse for it, I'm all right. Sometimes they're saying, hey, I'm not as fast. I'm working on it. And if you take last year, Lando Norris, he didn't complain a lot when he was beaten by Oscar Piastri. He just got on with his job and got back to where he wanted to be. And I think that's the only way out of it. As soon as you try to find excuses, find reasons, because if you find a reason and the reason is not there, how can you get better? You think you get better, but you don't, because there was nothing wrong with it to start off with. And all this engine thing and power, I think it wasn't perfect, but I think if you go into any of these cars in the moment, you will have moments when they are not performing at full power. There is still a lot of unknowns in this technology.
Well, it seems like there are a ton of unknowns in this technology. I want to get into that a little bit with the AI of it all, but sometimes they're getting power where they don't expect it, all that kind of stuff. From what I can tell and what I've read, there was an issue on the opening lap from a bunch of the different Mercedes engines. That Alpine had some issues. Kimi even had a similar issue to George, but George's was the most severe. And this was a different issue than the lack of straight line speed that George had been talking about during qualifying and previously. So it seems like there's this kind of shit sandwich that continues to happen. But I think it's an interesting point you made, Guenther, about there's a pick yourself up by your bootstraps that your generation especially loves to hit the younger people with. but fast on the straights is
I'm
like
still young, but anyway.
Yeah.
You're still young, of course.
He's
You're
got
still
a
young,
full
but
head of
you
hair.
are.
Look at him. He's
You're
beautiful.
still, but you're still part of a generation.
Yeah.
Still part of a generation that hits
With a lot of experience,
generation.
exactly. Yeah, with a lot of
That's
experience.
You all pulled yourself up by your own bootstraps, and now you're saying, but fast on the straights is, in theory, like, is there so much that you can do? You know, you put Matt and I in a car, you put the foot on the gas, and in theory, on the straights, any dumbass could be fast, right? Isn't that a car issue? Is that not an engine issue?
What was the speed difference?
Well, the speed difference between him and the Ferraris and all the guys that were mugging him down the Camel Straight was pretty obvious. I mean, he got completely overtaken. He was looking like he was in a tractor on that.
But if he didn't have the electrical power there because he used it somewhere else, again, it's like there's so many people working on this. And if it is real, they know exactly what it is. And Toto came up, we interviewed him after the race about, Kimi being overtaken and then taking it back, going into 5. You know, for
with
me,
Max.
Yeah, with Max. For me, that was intentionally. I think Toto said, no.
Right.
All 6 Mercedes, we had a software issue. I mean, I don't think Mercedes have got software issues straight away. And having less power, if there is less power, the first one to be interested in to find that one out are the Mercedes engineers. Could it be the setup of the car? I don't know. If you run a different ride height, a different rake, you lose speed on a car. So I don't know the detail, but for them, they can find it out pretty clearly what it is. And I mean, they are not this stupid not to know that if, as you guys maybe think with your conspiracy theories, that this is sabotage, I mean, it's like, what bloody sabotage is this? If we 3 wankers here can see that there's something wrong with it, it's not sabotage.
Well, I'm not saying that they're purposely sabotaging George, but, George likes to complain a lot. Is it maybe the boy who cried wolf?
Yeah, but because
he's
sometimes
always
that
complaining
works.
about some shit.
Yeah.
And now he's complaining about this, and there might be something to it, but since he always complains,
nobody
gives
a shit anymore.
Seriously.
Exactly. Yeah, nobody gives a shit anymore. Yeah. At some stage,
exactly.
Yeah. But that's also a lesson to be learned in life. Young generation, don't cry wolf, because in the end, how did you call it? You need to pick yourself up
by your bootstraps.
Yeah, by bootstraps.
Rub some
instead
dirt
of
on
crying wolf. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do something for it to get better instead of complaining and whinging,
Right. Now, what happened last year with Lando was that it seemed like Lando didn't have a feel of the car, that he was not in sync with it. And then they were able to add, I forget what it was specifically, but I think they were able to add a bit more front wing so that he could have a better feel of the car. And he worked with the team in order to improve the setup.
Sabotage Oscar.
To get him, his car, into the window in which he liked it. Hold on. Before you follow every rabbit hole. Now, and Lando likes to complain. We've heard that Lando can whine on whatever radio too. I guess when I look at the difference between George's standing within the team and Lando standing within the team is that Lando was more of the golden boy of McLaren versus George, who feels like he's the redheaded stepchild of Mercedes. So is this not... maybe he's exhausted his ability to try to go through the proper channels, and now he has to mouth off in the press in order to put pressure on the team in order to take him seriously. Is that at all potentially at play here?
They're trying, but what we forget, only one can be fastest in a team. There is 2 drivers, one will be second, Obviously, one will be the first loser. So what would happen now if George is... turn them around. George is leading as Kim is now. What would be the theory then? Or the advantage George, because he's in the team a long time, He has got all the experience, all the mechanics work for him. It will always happen, This is part of the game. And I think George's strategy here is to get more attention, for first of all, to have an excuse why he's not performing. And secondly, as you say, to push the people actually to, George is not getting the right thing, so maybe he thinks he can motivate his engineers, his mechanics to do better so he can get ahead of Kimi. It's not going to happen in the moment.
I just think what Brian is saying is that Lando had more pull within the team to handle it internally, whereas George might not.
And to be fair, George was only kind of mouthing off about the team and about the car recently. When he was having his bad races, he was taking a lot of that on the chin. He said, if I drive like this, I'm not going to win the championship. Kimi has the edge on me. It's only when it's really come up with this straight line speed thing, which I think in his mind, he's like, well, I can't do anything about that. It's a straight line. Now, it seems like there is some type of dark magic in this new reg set about how you do the regen. There, it's kind of like the fueling thing. It's kind of like Dixon and IndyCar with refuel, with how much fuel you use. Seems like there is a bit of some dark magic about how you regenerate the battery that maybe Kimi has figured out that George hasn't. That is, in theory, what Toto was talking about when he said it's 50% driver, 50% car. But this Mercedes took 100%, ownership of this was our fault that he had this issue. But maybe George is so he's so exhausted and at the end of his rope and distraught about everything that's happening that he just then threw it in there and ruined his race. But I don't know.
He's in a bad spot. He's in a bad spot in the moment because he is behind Kimi in the team,
Yeah,
and then everything goes wrong.
Yeah. No, the software didn't throw it up the outside on Lewis Hamilton and ruin his freaking race. No, the software didn't do that. So that's why I thought he was kind of
you
the
and me
wanker.
didn't do that. You and me didn't do that, so it's down to him, So, yeah.
If you're Toto Wolff, how are you interpreting George's comments in the press? What are you, are you souring on him? What do you think Toto's feeling right now?
I think Toto will try to mitigate that. He tunes it down a little bit because that's not good. And Toto in these things normally is pretty good, And he has got a good relationship with the guy. But in the moment, I think George gets away a little bit from him because obviously you've got this conflict of interest. He has got two children, basically. One he inherited and one he almost grew himself. So, but I'm sure Toto will try to manage it. And as I said before, only one can be number one. Only one can win. And we always forget that one will always be unhappy. And that's part of the job, what you're doing. And obviously, it's just like, how much can you manage these guys that they are not mouthing off over the radio? Because that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help Mercedes. That doesn't help the driver which mouthing off with the team. Because the team is like, dude, look at the other car. He's winning. So, but I cannot do anything about that, I mean, that a lot is the attitude in a team. It's like, okay, you're complaining about everything, but the other guy is all right.
I mean, Toto Wolff, I feel like there was sort of a smug satisfaction with how, they would handle it versus how Zach Brown handled it. Like Toto Wolff was there's sort of an assumption that Toto Wolff would handle this better. But is there just a reality that there's just no good way to handle this unless you have a number one, and a number, unless you're Max and Perez, there's no good way to handle it.
No, and even there, Perez is complaining, but guess what? Nobody cares.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, Bottas and Hamilton.
Right.
Or, Schumacher and all of his,
teammates.
Irvine and
Irvine,
Irvine, all the guys that kind of backed him up. Before we move on, I'm curious, because of German radio, because of the German broadcast, we actually got what George said on the radio, which was pretty spicy. He said, this is fucking unbelievable. This is unfucking acceptable. He was really keyed up. They didn't show that radio on any of the other broadcasts from what I can tell, which I know that, you're now on the other side of things. You're on the media side. What do you think? Why do you think that is? Like, what is Formula One's desire to kind of like cover up the maybe because he swore? Because as a fan, you're reading this, you're like, this is a huge implication for the championship, and the broadcast just neutered the television watching experience because they don't want to hear that these guys are upset and swearing on the radio. Like, what's going on there?
I think they just left it out because there is this big criticism about how the cars performed in Spa, and that would put more fuel on that fire, so that leave that one out.
I see.
And then because you can listen to the broadcast if you are tuned in to one of the drivers, but I don't think you get that. The international feed didn't have it in, so they just picked it out of another or over the radio. So I think that was the reason they didn't put the international feed. There was no need to put any more fuel on that fire about charging, deploying, super clipping, and all that stuff. So I think it's like, okay, why we don't open that Pandora box more than we need to?
Right. It was like the pivotal moment of the race, though. So,
well, no, it's Formula One trying to cover Formula One's own ass.
Correct. Well said. Well said.
Well, speaking of Formula One trying to cover up Formula One's own ass, maybe they could spend a little bit of money on some stewards because once again, penalties reared their fucking heads in Formula One. Lewis Hamilton gets a penalty on lap 1 for the incident with George. George calls it a racing incident, and if George Russell thought that he was at all not to blame, he would have said it, but he said it was a racing incident. And then later, down the Camel Straight, Charles and Oscar are going, and it looks like, as I see it, Charles absolutely didn't leave the room, gives Oscar damage. His race is then compromised. What
penalty there. No penalty for that.
The no penalty for Charles and the penalty for one Lewis Hamilton.
I think the no Charles penalty is the easier one. I think that was correct. No penalty there. No penalty.
He never wants penalties for anything. I mean,
exactly. Just let them go.
Mad Max Fury Road is how Guenther wants Formula One to exist.
Yeah.
Banana peels, whatever you want. Anything goes with Guenther.
It makes it interesting, yeah. And in the beginning, I must say, I was quite, okay, he deserves a penalty. But then again, if George said it wasn't a penalty, I need to say maybe I was wrong, If he feels it wasn't a penalty for Lewis, and I don't think he would play it this devious just to be controversial. It's like, wow. Because first I thought, because you can see with Lewis, he's doing this on the steering wheel. Did you see the onboard camera?
Well, he lost a bit of control, so he had to catch it. But he did catch it.
Yeah, exactly. That for me, I think it needed to be a penalty. While Charles didn't do any of this, he didn't do an abrupt maneuver to get into to Oscar. So I was.
No, he just kind of slowly did this, and then
he slowly drifted.
It was the wind. It was the wind. It was the wind. He didn't feel it. It was like he was going straight, and he was going like this.
Yeah. Just slowly, instead of abruptly crashing into somebody, he slowly drifted
it's a difference
into the person.
if you do it like this, because it looks like he steered to the left, while he was catching the car. But I said, okay, for this, you need a penalty. But then if George said, actually, he didn't do anything wrong, I was an idiot, or it was a racing incident, it's like, okay, maybe it shouldn't be a penalty.
But Guenther, is this lax attitude towards penalties? Is this just the result of years of having Kevin Magnussen on your team that you just don't see any penalties anymore?
No, I have no feeling for penalties. Everything we should make our own decisions. How I think.
Yes,
right.
Yes, you should run for president against MBS. I think next.
Well, you do. No, in 100 years, He's about my age.
No, 100 years when his term limit is up.
Exactly. When his term is up,
If Guenther was president, there'd be no laws. Everything, murder would be legal. No border, no rules. A lawless society is a Guenther Steiner society.
Yeah, exactly. Lawless society. The stronger one will survive,
Rollerball.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, well, this race, had implications for what's going on at the front of the grid, but let's talk a little bit what's going on in the midfield and what's going on in the rear of the grid. Silly season is fast approaching. We've got one more race in Hungary and then a month off before we go back to your homeland of Italy. There's a lot of talk about Esteban Ocon and Haas and Ollie Bearman's dismantling of him this year. What do you think is going on over there with your former employer and their one of their drivers there?
I think Ollie is doing a very good job, and Esteban is just like, that's the maximum he can do. I mean, the difference, it's so big. I think it's the biggest difference between teammates now in the championship. I think even quality especially.
Qualifying wise, I think it's as bad as anyone.
Yeah, but if you take also the time gap between the two normally, it's huge always, you know. So I don't think he has got a future there. I think that's his last year there.
Well, hold on, Guenther. Hold on, Guenther. Esteban has been complaining about downforce issues, maybe some problems on the straights. What kind of credence do you put into that?
Tell him he should go and speak with George so they can they can find solutions together. Yeah, commiserate and find solutions together for the two of them.
Sabotaging in qualifying over the season so far, Bearman has 11 to Ocon's 3. That includes sprint qualifyings. In terms of finishing in the race, Bearman is 7 to 3 of the 10 races we've done so far. They're tied in sprints in terms of finishing positions, but their championship points, Bearman has 18, Ocon has 3. So he is, you're right, 6xing him with regards to points. But okay, so if Ocon is going to be gone, that leaves a seat available. There are a few potential candidates. So we've got Rafael Camara in Formula 2. He's a Ferrari junior driver. We've got
Leonardo
Fornaroli. He's a McLaren junior driver, and then there's some potential whisperings around Yuki Tsunoda because of the Toyota connection that goes on there. Do you have an inclination as to who would be in the first position to take over that seat?
I think Yuki will be difficult because his connection with Honda. He's clearly a Honda guy, Yuki. So I think him jumping ship to Toyota, difficult. I would say Camara.
Because of the Ferrari pole.
Yeah.
Is that diminishing returns if you're at Haas? Like, what kind of benefits do you get from having one Ferrari junior in your squad? Like probably a discount on engines?
Yeah, maybe that one. And also, what are your alternatives? And the money saving, if who else is out there? If you don't have Esteban Ocon, what are the opportunities? Tsunoda, yeah.
You have Jack Doohan on the bench.
Jack Doohan, yeah, exactly. We forgot about him. Jack, I mean,
Right.
I mean, you could see what's going to happen with Liam Lawson, where he's going to end up if they end up, because they have this guy Solov coming through. Those are your options. Maybe call a Pinto if Carlos Sainz wants out and he jumps to Alpine. Those are probably your options, right? If Sainz replaces somebody upfield.
The options are, exactly, there is not many options out there. There is not like anybody hanging around very good, which doesn't know where to go or wants to come. Because I don't think that Carlos Sainz wants to go to Haas.
Would there be an additional benefit from having 2 Ferrari juniors on your squad as opposed to 1? No?
But I would say
that much more off of an engine?
Ollie Bearman is not a Ferrari junior anymore next year, I think. Ollie Bearman is Ollie Bearman. I think so, yeah. If he's not a Ferrari, he's a free agent. Because normally what they put in their contracts is like, if they're not in the works team after a certain period, they are free to go wherever they want.
Oh, so Ollie Bearman is going to miss the Ferrari train, it looks like, because of...
Or maybe they tell him to wait another year. But I don't know if they know if Hamilton stops or not. I don't know if they can make that commitment. Obviously, I think Ferrari will try to get him to keep him as a Ferrari driver, but I don't know if they can do it. I think, but on the other side, Ollie doesn't have a lot of other opportunities because there is no big seats open, no good seats open.
How do you play that if it's like yeah, you're not technically a Ferrari guy anymore, but if he keeps in good standing with the team in a few years, if let's say, Lewis looks more motivated than ever to stay in Formula One. So let's say in 2 years, he's still in Formula One, Ollie Bearman's still at Haas. Do you think that seat would still have his name kind of written on it? But like what would screw that relationship up potentially, even if the contract runs out, you're no longer a Ferrari driver, but we all know who you really have your loyalty to. Like
what does it
would
mean
get in the
to
way
be
of
a
that?
Ferrari driver, even though you're not on the team?
After a while, nothing, because you need to continue with your career. Because I think it's for both sides. Ferrari, to keep Ollie as a Ferrari driver, to keep him on their books, call it like this, they need to promise him the right in a certain period of time. Otherwise, why would he do it?
See.
So, but if Ollie says, I don't want to wait for this, there is another opportunity with Mercedes, McLaren, or Red Bull.
Right.
Let's go there. So these contracts normally have got, for a period of time, you have to wait, and they help you to get the experience, but after a while, it's not like they can hold you wherever they want, because you need to move on with your own career. And they maybe need to move on as well, because the next ones are coming already.
And to be technical, when you're a junior driver, so Ollie Bearman's a Ferrari junior, does that mean if Lewis Hamilton, God forbid, breaks his ankle, they could just call him up and he's theirs? Like they just have and they don't have to negotiate a new contract. You're ours, Haas. Get Jack doing. That's what really it means to be a Ferrari junior.
Correct.
They have the rights to you.
Okay.
So basically, what it means is once Ollie is no longer a junior driver or Ferrari in the program, if they want him, they gotta sign him like a normal
and pay
driver.
him like a normal driver.
And pay him like a normal driver.
Yeah.
And they can't just snag him off of Haas.
No.
I see.
Once
They gotta
he's
work
out of
something
their
out.
contract, exactly. Yeah.
So that's really what it means. So in terms of Leo Fornaroli, what would McLaren have to give Haas something to put him there?
I don't know how that works. I think they would. I think they would give Haas something. They don't have to, but I think they would give Haas something if they put him there. And that's what it comes down to. Who gives most, to put a good driver there. Because there's nothing wrong with taking a good driver and getting some money for it. Getting a junior driver and getting some money for it.
It's kind of a sad state of affairs where you have this guy Fornaroli who won F3 and F2, and he's on the bench, and then he's competing with this other guy in F2 that's also hot shit. And some of these guys are just not going to get seats, even though we have 11 teams on the grid now.
Yeah, because, but it's life. You need to be at the right place at the right time. And obviously Cadillac took 2 seniors back, and there are 2 seats gone,
Okay, so we know that Ocon's future is in peril. We know there might be some movement over at Haas. Who are you looking for? Silly season's going to be 2 weeks away. Who do you think, where else do you think we could see some potential movement in August?
I would say Alpine, maybe not in August, but in the moment, Colapinto is doing good. He's doing good. He's holding his own against Gasly. So there is, but I was thinking that if Colapinto doesn't step up, but he is stepping up in the moment, the last races. So I think he can stay there. Who else?
Guenther, can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
You're Flavio. Phone rings. Bring, bring. It's Carlos Sainz Sr. I want in. What do you do? What do you say?
Difficult conversation. In the end, it's but again, there is some loyalty. And now Colapinto is doing pretty good, because Gasly is not a bad driver and he holds his own against him. So why would you change if you don't have to? And for sure, Colapinto costs less than Carlos. That's my opinion. I don't know the exact number, but I don't think Colapinto can ask a price like Carlos can ask.
Right.
But
wow.
for sure,
So you're turning down. You're saying, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, no,
No
I
grazie.
would.
No grazie. No grazie.
You never do like this in a negotiation. You speak with people, you keep them warm, Yeah, let's talk. And then you make your decision. It's always nice that people are interested in you,
Right.
But if that is happening, what is Williams doing?
Williams would get Franco back.
You think so?
Yeah, well, he was a Williams driver. I think Williams would be lucky to have Franco at this point.
Yeah, you're right on that one, yeah.
No, dude, this is all part of Val's master plan. He's just
it's all in the emails. All in the emails. I never forget that statement. I've got all the solutions in the emails,
Did he say that?
Yeah. Beginning of the year when the car was said, I've got the inbox, I've got all the solutions for our problem. I guess he deleted them.
This is project 2027 now. And right now he's tanking for wind tunnel time. That's it. This is all part of the master plan.
Okay.
As
long as there is a plan, you're right, and somebody believes your plan, you're good.
So maybe Alpine, but Franco is maybe making that a difficult situation for one Flavio. Are we expecting any other, I can't imagine that Fernando Alonso wants to stay at Aston Martin, giving everything that's there. There is also the potential of him going to Alpine, him calling up his old friend Flavio.
Whoa. Hungary, the Aston Martin will be on top. It will be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Upgrade is coming. It's all good. So, assumption is that one. In the moment, you have to believe what you're told, And if it is not in Hungary, it's Zandvoort because some of the parts are delayed.
Right.
So you have to remember that Alonso did say that he wanted to race up until his child can remember him, his new child can remember him being in F1. So we're looking at 5-6 more years by that metric.
I don't think Social Security or whatever the equivalent is in Spain, by the time that goes down.
I don't think he stays at Aston Martin if they perform like they do now another 5 years. I mean, I'm pretty sure about that. He's done with that, For Fernando Alonso, it hurts to come in, to put a lot of effort in and to be last and not even ever.
Right.
He's last because Lance Stroll retires all the time,
Right.
And what about the Cadillac guys? Do you think that, that car is so bad, it's sometimes hard to how do you look at these drivers when the car is that much, when it's that off the pace to really put any blame when really, if it's a pie chart, obviously, what's going on with the car is 95% of it.
Yeah. How are you evaluating your Haas in the 2021 days? Or whatever the days where you were really
you're not
bad.
evaluating. You just know your shit, So, but that's what it is at Cadillac. I mean, they know where they are, and they know that the drivers are not the difference. You can put Max Verstappen in that car, It will not make a difference. So,
but when you're figuring out who to sign, you
keep this too. I mean, good drivers will not come to you. Carlos Sainz is not going to go to Cadillac. I mean, I think, It's like, why would he go there? But and who else you want to put in there? I mean, Colton Herta you can put in there. It wouldn't make a difference, to be honest. I mean, but would it be a wise decision? Because hopefully next year the car is better. I mean, they're actually making progress. Fair play to them. They're not going backwards. They're making slow progress. It's slow, but they're not catching up. But at least they're not falling more back like Aston Martin does. So that is progress. So I think the best bet for them is trying to keep these two guys another year until the car is more decent, until you can attract better drivers. Because in the moment, to attract anybody good, you would need, not even paying them shitloads of money, people would come.
All right. We're going to get to our predictions for Hungary in a second, but let's go to our favorite segment, Gas or Break.
F1 should break up with the FIA.
Gas. Oh, gas. They
go on.
They should not maybe break up, but they should, I would say, not control them because that's the wrong word, but be in charge of it. That they're not in competition all the time. It seems like it has become a competition which takes away resources and distracts of what F1 is. We are there for the racing. We are not there for political games between a promoter and a federation. You know, that they are not aligned all the time, and you cannot be aligned all the time. But if somebody's in charge, you know, the FIA should still exist, you know, because it's a federation. They need to regulate racing of cars, but they shouldn't be almost trying to be in competition with the promoter, because they have given them these rights away to the promoter. So they should take clear instructions from the promoter what the promoter wants them to do.
That was a nuanced gas. I'm going unnuanced gas. Full breakup. Like
full gas.
Full gas, throwing the fucking shit out, throwing the Mohammed bin Salem's clothes out the window, get the fuck out. Enjoy regulating your WEC or whatever the fuck it is that you have left, because you're not regulating this shit anymore. We're GP1. Enjoy your fucking unlimited term limits and your Lego car bullshit somewhere else, because we are professionals. We are not amateurs. We are professionals. And we're gonna run this thing professionally, and nobody gives a shit about the FIA and all the minutia and the bullshit. Everybody's coming to watch us. We're sick and tired of you being the center of attention, and every week it's a new fucking thing. It's a whole Megillah over penalties and the new regulations and V8s and it's just enough already. It's always something with these fucking guys. And he's always he's got to put a medal around everyone. He's got to be in the green room. And it's like, you should be fucking invisible, dude. It's time to, you got to, because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get, they're only going to get more powerful. You got to cut this thing off at the root.
You boys need to both, both need to pump the brakes.
I think Matt has got an opinion here.
You boys need to cut your brakes. Let's not cut off our nose to spite our face. What they should try to do is break up with one Mohammed bin Salem, but let's not forget what happened at IndyCar with CART. You know, the brand of Formula One, what might happen if it was a true split?
Yeah.
But
no. But you cannot compare that IndyCar. I mean, the owner of IndyCar owns a team as well. That's different. I mean, obviously, you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, but who knows what would happen in terms of does Ferrari go with it? Who stays? Then it's a whole. I mean, you're assuming that if they did that, then all of a sudden it would be, you know, just clean and it's exactly as it is, except there's no more like Mohammed bin Salem putting a medal on around someone's neck. It would be a Kafkaesque crazy nightmare. It would be
would be like the NFL or the NBA. They would like F1. The teams would hire their own. The refs would work for them. The new MBS that they would hire would be their fucking employee, and they would do what they said.
No, I agree. I mean, I agree that would be great, but they couldn't call it F1 anymore. It would be a different name, and who knows who stay if they want to keep F1 and they want to keep. Let's just get new teams, and guess what? Maybe Ferrari stays, and maybe Mercedes stays. Does everyone leave with it? It's not that I don't imagine that it's that simple. But Guenther, you could tell me if I'm wrong. Would it be that simple?
No, it's not that simple. It's not that simple.
So basically, all the 10 teams would start a GP1.
No, you cannot go extreme. I mean, my explanation would be good. F1 would be control of it, but they would use the FIA and however they structure themselves. It's their problem, but they would really have a, you know, you guys do this, that, and the other. Do not interfere with this, that, and
what you're asking for is basically to go back in time to when Bernie Ecclestone ran things, and his best asshole buddy Max Mosley was in charge, and
yes.
They worked together.
Yes,
that's what you
work together. Yeah, mm-hmm.
Work together. Yeah. So you're asking for a fucking time machine, which is actually way more ridiculous than what I fucking want, which is a breakup. Because last I looked, I don't think Stefano Domenicali and MBS are getting bunk beds anytime soon.
Well, why doesn't it happen though, Guenther? What leverage does F1 not have to make it to change things? 'Cause I can't imagine they're happy with everything that's been going on.
No, absolutely. They cannot be happy with what's going on, but there is contracts in place, and obviously the FIA has got some rights, and they use them, while before the president maybe was a little bit more, okay, I don't really care about it, but MBS wants to give a lot of power to the FIA, and to himself, obviously,
Because isn't like the money that the FIA gets from Formula One, isn't that like 60 over, like, isn't it like 70% of the money that funds the FIA? I mean, they need F1.
But in their contracts, they have got the right to be in F1. So one cannot do without the other one. I mean, F1 could do without FIA, but then we are back what Matt said. It needs to be called GP1. Who is giving you licenses for this? You would make a mess of motor racing, incredible mess. An incredible mess if that happens.
You gotta make it work with the people that are there. You can't.
Exactly.
You gotta make it work. You live together. You gotta make it work.
That's right.
Gotta be able to cohabitate. Next prompt.
Couples therapy.
From Isabel Wise, Racing Bulls should have given Lawson the upgrades since he's ahead in points.
Gas. Because that is the principle I always apply. Who is ahead gets the better stuff. But maybe Lawson didn't want the new stuff. It was too risky. I don't know that. But normally, if there is new stuff, who deserves it? Who is in front? Who has got the better results?
No, they both wanted it, and then they decided whoever wins qualifying in Silverstone gets it for the next week.
They agreed, and then it's fair as well. If they agree to do that one, it's fine. They know what they were going to.
But if I'm Lawson, I'm like, I'm beating this guy in qualifying. I'm ahead in the points. I should be considered the lead driver. I'm the one bringing home the bacon here. Why
Absolutely.
are you it's very demoralizing.
I agree with you. You don't fight me here.
Yeah.
Don't fight me. I said.
Well, then if I can't fight you, then there's no point to this entire podcast, and we should call it right now, because it's total bullshit. And I'm really worried for Liam Lawson, because this is setting a dangerous precedent.
Go and fight Racing Bulls. Go and fight Racing Bulls, not me. I'm with you. I come with you to fight them. Give Liam Lawson the new pass.
Give Liam Lawson the upgrades.
Exactly.
Give Liam Lawson
so
the
I go
upgrades.
full gas. It should have been Lawson's.
Yeah.
This is,
United.
This is because
we are united.
Because Lindblad was really fast when he was 11. Here we are. Okay, next prompt.
From Allie Lee, Mercedes are sabotaging George.
Break. That's a lot of bullshit. He's sabotaging himself by not being fast, and he needs to look at himself in the mirror. How can I get out of this? Mercedes is not sitting there trying to give him a less performing car. That is not happening.
I'm going fucking gas.
Oh,
I'm going fucking gas. Is it, but it's emotional sabotage, okay? It's emotional sabotage because you know what? Toto
it's emotional sabotage. No.
You had your turn.
No.
Okay, he fucking left him. He left him like Argos, the dog in the Odyssey. He left him in the dung heap outside at Williams for 3 fucking years. Okay, then he brought him in. And he had to carry Lewis's water for 3 years. Then the second he gets the team for himself,
his teammate is faster. His teammate is faster.
No. Kimi gets to drive his car, smashes it in Monza, absolutely obliterates his car in FP1. And what does George say? All good, Kimi. All good. Gives Kimi all the love that he never received from Toto. And now Kimi's the golden boy, and George is kind of back out in the dung heap like Argos, the loyal dog in the Odyssey.
So George never got anything. 3 years. Who paid 3 years for George at Williams?
I'm so glad you brought this up. Whenever there was a Max Verstappen rumor, Toto never threw that out of bed. He strung George along contractually forever. He wouldn't give George a long-term contract. George always felt like he was a redheaded stepchild. So now the doubt creeps in, the self-doubt, the confidence. So George, he's hobbled George emotionally, sabotaged his confidence. Now he's like out damn spot. Lady Macbeth, he's seeing ghosts on the straights.
I'm going full gas. He's not just seeing ghosts on the straights. He's fucking slow on the straights, and he's been banging around. He's been banging the drum for multiple weeks about it, and they don't listen to him because they don't respect him. They don't respect what he has to say. They don't like him. They gaslight him. They're like,
Sorry,
you're not.
I can't hear you from all the way back there, George. Maybe you got to go a little bit faster. Can't
I
hear
agree
you.
with everything that Matt said, but now we're seeing. I mean, I don't know. Listen. Like, is it his driving style? Is it something? But like, slow on the straights is slow on the straights. It's pretty black or white. He's saying he's slow on the straights. And now the data is starting to back it up. I'm saying gaslight gas. Let's move on. Our predictions. We've got Hungary coming up. Last race before summer break. Guenther, what should we expect from the Hungarian Grand Prix? What do you need? What's going to be valued in Hungary?
I think what we will get is a more interesting race than in Spa because of the power. You know, it's easier to handle with this new power unit. What do you need? Downforce. I mean, Hungary, and hopefully it's not too hot. Can be very hot there. But otherwise, you know, it's just like more downforce is good there. More downforce is good everywhere. But it's you know, it's higher downforce than Spa. So I think the Ferraris will be back.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
That's right. Okay, well let's go into our predictions then. What's your podium for Spa, Guenther?
Charles, Max, Kimi.
Wow.
I'm going Lewis. Lewis loves this track. Charles, Kimi.
I'm going Lewis. You're right. He does love this track. He's won there, I think, 8 times.
Yes.
Yeah, in a Mercedes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lewis. Kimi. Lando.
Ooh.
My boy Lando Norris said that he could have won in Spa with the pace that he had. Obviously, you had no chance of actually winning, but he said with the pace that I had, I think I maybe could have won in Spa. I think that maybe the McLarens might have something up their sleeve. Maybe we'll see if this track actually responds to it, but I think that's my podium. Right now, Guenther's leading with 31 points. Matt and I have 23. Matt has 23. I have 22. We're, no lead is safe, Guenther.
No, I
you
know
might
that.
think that you're Kimi Antonelli.
No, I'm
but
not.
We're not George Russell. Okay, we're confident in our position.
I know that. I know that.
Okay, that does it for us. We will see you next week, Vankahs. We love you.
Goodbye, Wankers.
Goodbye, Vegas.